Evening all, I'm with my good friend Chris, known as Chess Explained. We're going to have a look at now game 4 of the Rapids, so 25 minutes each with a 10-second increments per move. Anand playing white, Gelfand black. Hi Chris.
Yeah, hello for the final game, and everything's set here for showdown, as the standing before this game was 2-1 in Anand's favor, the defending champion. So the challenger Gelfand needed to win this game at all costs. The draw is not acceptable, so to say. He needs to win.
Yeah.
To even the score and get to the further blitz games that then would come up. So it's the most difficult thing to do, win against a super strong opponent with black, and the opponent only needs to draw himself. So very difficult task. Let's see what he came up with to try this. So Vishy again plays e4.
And then again we have this Sveshnikov invitation. No, we don't have a Sveshnikov, we have d6. Pardon me.
Yeah.
d6 instead of knight c6.
Yeah, first a quick mention that Anand goes for e4, which is just a better move to play for a draw. So first, well, he played e4 a couple of games where he wanted to win, I guess, but e4 is just a better move if you want to really get the game into something very, very drawish. So let's see what happens. So d6, this is already quite some invitation to the knight off, which Gelfand is a huge expert on. But it's declined with bishop b5 check.
Yes, so the same Rosalimo bishop b5, but a different position, not pinning a knight or anything. So what do you think about bishop b5? Is it really a drawing weapon against d6?
No, it usually leads to positions that are not so sharp, in contrast to the open Sicilian, of course. But it's really a bit of a matter how white continues, what kind of sub variations he will choose. Some are in fact quite lame and a bit boring, but you can perfectly play this move to play for an advantage. It's less sharp than d4, but not necessarily worse. Certainly a move that can be recommended to players who look for some rather interesting games still, but don't want to really get into this huge body of d4 theory. So it's not bad. Back then, when I still played e4, like 15 years ago, I also played this. Actually, this was the line I beat my first international master with, with white.
Really?
Yeah, when I still played e4. It's a long time ago. Okay, so and I didn't necessarily play this to play for a draw. I also won some games. Okay, so Gelfand plays the most fighting move here, knight d7. Another move to sort of try to unbalance is knight c6, which I also played myself as black. I actually prefer knight c6 there, but okay, it's a matter of taste. The main point here is that bishop d7, in comparison, we'll just look at this briefly. It's this kind of position is much harder for black to try to play for win, as very often. I'm not sure about the move order here. This here, and then stuff like c3 and d4. Let's say a line like this here. just to show it briefly. Oops, knight e4. And I think Vishy wouldn't in a million years lose this position. You just pile up on the c file, and it's difficult to do anything. This kind of somewhat lame position might arise, or white also might go for some Marozzi bind kind of structure after queen d7 here. I don't really handle this well, this kind of move, and it's also difficult to do anything with black. Let's say stuff like this, and then white sets up the Marozzi bind, and it's not much for black to do besides e6, d5, trying to equalize, and equal is not good for black here. So in this match situation, So here he went knight to d7, which is really the fighting move. Funny enough, the move also Anand played like about 2 months ago in the German Bundesliga against the Grandmaster Tivyakov with black, and he lost horribly. Anand.
Oh, right.
So yeah, so he has some memories about this position.
Oh.
Not so pleasant ones from black's point of view. Okay, so let's see what happens here. I actually forgot what was played. D4, yeah.
D4. Now knight f6, just hitting e4 in return. I think now there's a surprising move. Quick e5. It looks as though white's playing forcing moves here without castling even. And
yeah, I think the first impression was that there might be some rather forcing line here, which sort of kills all active play here to get a draw maybe. Otherwise this move is uncommon really. White usually I think just castles, but it's not like that I know this too well. I think you can actually offer this e4 pawn. Let's say something like this here is quite risky. Obviously, if you look at this, what is black doing here? He will have lots of problems. I think you cannot even take. But okay, we're getting far away from the game. But this would be the move to get a fight here. Usually, a position like this comes up in this line.
Right.
And white will capture on d7 at some point and play c4. Being very solid, of course, but this is also a position where black can fight for something. Yeah, it's a typical imbalanced pawn structure, typical of the Naidor form or the Sveshnikov. So it looked like Vishy just wanted to somehow simplify immediately. And the amazing thing here, I'm sorry. The amazing thing here is Gelfand's time usage again. I think at this point he invested like 3 minutes or something. I'm not sure, but quite something. I think what he tried was to try to spot what kind of forcing line is coming up here, in order to really avoid a complete trade of pieces, because he needs to have some things on the board left to play for a win. But queen a5 he played, and this looks like the move you would play instantly, actually.
Check.
Right.
He took like 3 minutes.
So 22 minutes, down to 22 there on this relay simulation.
Check.
So yeah, about 3 minutes. So
Yeah, I was quite surprised that he took some time, but it's understandable in a way, because you really need to check that you don't run into some prepared drawing line, and of course this is unacceptable, so it needs to have some kind of tension on the board. So of course knight c3, you need to keep your bishop, and then knight e4.
right. Yes, moving a piece twice is breaking a beginner's rule, but it's sort of justified here. There's a threat of knight takes and queen takes b5 potentially, and forcing white to play bishop d7 perhaps. But now what does white play? He plays bishop d2. So now this is interesting. So black is faced with bishop takes and knight takes e4 as a threat to win a piece. So what does black do here?
Yeah, I think what happens now looks almost forced. I mean, you can consider taking on d2. Well, he took on c3, but let's say you would take on d2, just for instance. And this is looks dangerous. You don't have a good development here, and the normal move would be queen d2. Maybe even knight d2 comes into consideration, but now you don't have anything developed at all. So what do you do now? I mean, there are things maybe coming up, like let's say black would play a move like g6 here to try to develop here. What do you do now? let's say this, and rook e1 to come, and you basically busted immediately. So I think you cannot afford really to take on d2. You have lost so much time already, and I think you need to really play what he did. He took on c3, and this forces white to capture on d7 as the bishop is hanging, and this also speeds up black's development a bit here. And and the good thing here for black is you've got a very nice control here of the light squares. This kind of also this e6 spot is also always very sensitive in these positions. So it's very good that you have this bishop which is unopposed. In general, black has got the bishop here also. And here's an interesting point, because I was actually a bit surprised what he played now. Not that it is a bad move, but I thought the other one was just better, but okay, matter of taste maybe. So Gelfand now went queen a6.
Yes, stopping white casting kingside.
Yeah, actually, okay, I apologize. I think I confused something, but then it's the next move which surprised me. Maybe. Okay. So yeah, white is a bit uncomfortable here with not able to castle. And the thing is, looking at this position, this is not a forced draw at all. And everything that white has managed to accomplish is giving up the bishop pair for nothing. So I think Gelfand was should be and was pretty happy with his chances here. Yeah, takes on d6. Here actually is an interesting position, because at the end black took on d6. But an interesting move here to consider would be long castle.
Oh right, yes, trying to just get the pressure.
This would be interesting, trying to speed up development. I don't think white can afford a move like this here. And then you've got rook e8 coming.
Yeah.
If white tries to play a move like this here to get rid of the queens, you always have this move.
Oh, it gets very vicious very quickly. Yeah, with this king in the center.
Yeah, I think white loses here.
Yeah.
You cannot get out of this mess. And also this queen a6 is super annoying. If you consider, let's say, I don't know, a variation like this here where white tries to escape, you also have a2 hanging. Yeah. This is very, very annoying.
Yes.
So yeah, the white would be in trouble if he's too greedy. So he needs to come up with some other move here. And I'm not quite sure what this move should be. It doesn't look like white has a move he really likes to play. It's more like he's forced to do something that he really didn't intend beforehand. I think this is an interesting alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not my move. Swidler suggested this, so before someone says I'm taking credit for this interesting idea. But I think at the end he just decided to recapture, which isn't bad at all. You've got two bishops, and
check.
And now queen e2, yeah. So the interesting possibility I mentioned was this long castle. I remembered something wrong. The difference now is that actually here the queens come off.
Yeah, that's a major thing, isn't it? Yeah, that would have been a major difference. Major to get the now Vishy might have been relieved to get the queens off a little bit. Less tension in the position, less complexity anyway.
Well, it's hard to tell. It's a pretty uncomfortable endgame. I think the only question in this endgame here. First of all, let's take here and consider the next couple of moves here. So the only question in this position is it slightly better for black or is it already clearly better for black?
Right.
This is the only question here. And of course it's not the kind of position that Anand wanted here. As he said in the press conference, he sort of set his mind before this game to not play for a draw too stubbornly, to still trying to play a normal game, play solid, and safe, but still play a normal game.
Yeah.
And as he said in the press conference, he awfully yeah, didn't follow his own idea. Of course, he knows that he shouldn't play too hard for a draw, and now he got himself into this rather uncomfortable position.
Oh, by the way, Chris, you know he had this rapid against Kasparov in Credit Suisse many years back, where Kasparov's blunder. He was talking about it in Chess-Based magazine, and he said for those games he would rather play quickly and badly rather than well and slowly. He said that back then, you know, when he beat Kasparov.
Yeah,
That was quite interesting. So maybe he's, you know, a bit of the same strategy as well. He doesn't, you know, he's prepared to sacrifice quality to play quickly, and he was always ahead on the clock.
Yeah, that's true. But I think he maybe just confused something or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty much sure if he plays this position, let's say 10 times against top opposition, he will lose like 4 or 5 and draw a couple, but he would never win a game, and you would suffer terribly. I think he must have confused maybe something in his preparation, or no idea. I'm just speculating here because this is just a terrible position. I mean, it's just suffering for nothing. And yeah, but the thing is, okay, he got himself into some trouble here. But looking at the game, I think he did a very good job to keeping his stuff together and defending. He's a great defender.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue here. I actually didn't remember what Black played.
So F6.
Yeah, F6. Okay.
Which, okay, it blunts the bishop potentially on the diagonal and gives the king potentially a square if it wants.
Check.
Check, using that light square bishop. But it's subject to a tempo gain later potentially. So bishop, well, see, now it moves out of the way anyway. So that is nice. That bishop is having a good time at the moment.
Yeah.
Rook d1, not minding the double pawns. That will get rid of black's bishop pair and maybe some dynamic compensation, I guess.
Yeah, this would spoil everything if you take on f3.
Yeah.
So what black tries to do here in general is, if you got the two bishops in this kind of position where it's not really that open already, yeah, the position is not so open. What you're trying to do is to gain space, ideally on both flanks, with possibly moves like g5, h5, and also b5, a5.
Yeah.
Basically, what Gelfand does in the game, you want to gain space and try to open up the position slowly, and not like forcibly open it up. Like, let's say a move like c takes d4 would just be terrible.
Yeah, because the knight's got good squares, isn't it? Like f5 and
yeah. You want to improve slowly and trying to make slow progress here. Maybe get rid of one rook. Not two, maybe just one rook, and progress slowly. I think he did a good job. Only at some point, maybe Black could have played better. If I remember this correctly from watching the game live, it wasn't like Black missed a forcing win or something, but somehow it wasn't exact enough what he played. Okay, so I don't know what was going. Yeah, okay.
King c1. Okay, so bishop e7, d5. So at least the bishop's not torturing white now on the diagonal. Bishop d7, but it can come now to this diagonal potentially.
Yeah.
Bishop b2, b5, which is like white's been given a hard time now. On this side of the board, there's lots of targets, isn't there? Well, there's a target. He can compress the a3 pawn with b4 first, then play a4 to create a fixed target of this a2, and that's what he does, I think. Soon he plays b4 first. So, but white is now doubling on this e file, and this rook might even be useful on the third rank at some point. I don't know, but on the e file, I think he wanted to keep control of the e6 square, so that bishop's kind of has to maintain e6. This f5 might be a bit ambitious. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure as well. I think I know that during the game that I expected bishop f8 to be played, and I think this was also the move that Swidler wanted to play, to get rid of one pair of rooks and then really slowly trying to improve the position.
Because doesn't this move improve the bishop? It's got a tactical target. If white doubles, there's like a tactic like bishop takes g7, then, you know, if the king's having to protect, you know, it starts to get some pressure points, this bishop.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one thing, and the other thing is you always have to be very cautious with your pawn moves. This is the old saying, they cannot go back. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's locked in his own
and
bishop as well. That
yeah,
bishop.
this is exactly, this is the point. At this point, you sort of maybe improved your e7 bishop a bit.
Yeah.
It has got a little bit more breathing space now, but potentially this d7 bishop can be a very bad piece. And maybe it was better, hard to tell, to actually play really this first, bishop to f8.
Yeah.
Let's say something like this here.
Yeah.
And then trying to improve further. Not rook e8. I think this would exchange too much pieces. Because very often it's useful to keep one rook here, because white's rook is not doing anything at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not a threatening piece.
Yeah.
And if you imagine later, after advancing your pawns, it's very likely that that black will be the player here who initiates the opening of the position, and then you can really adjust your rook's position accordingly to the exact position where you open it up.
Yeah.
So it's very helpful to keep one rook, because this rook is more of an attacking piece potentially later than it's a help for white. So it's this is always very tricky to tell. Should I exchange everything here and so on? But I think it's good to keep exactly one rook here.
Right.
So, and then maybe trying to improve very slowly, like moves like g6 and so on.
Yeah.
What white could try to do is, not sure if you will manage, but what he could try to do is build up some play, maybe against d6, which is the only...
That is a strategic target, but at the moment it's difficult to sort of access it. Knight e4 without any coordination on d6, unless this bishop can somehow... But in the meantime, black's fixing this target. He could work like this with his rook to improve this.
Yeah. I think at the end the opening of the position must come on the king's side. But it's difficult. You need to just play on very slowly, improving a bit, and so on. It's not a position you can really analyze with concrete moves.
It looks,
maybe this was more flexible, let's say.
Yeah, it looks very committal, this f5. It looks as though Anand must have been pleased with f5, seeing f5 played, because already it looks good. There's an immediate threat of bishop takes g7 here, and rook takes e7 now.
Yeah, black needs to attend to this.
So g5, it's like, you know, what's happening to his king here, playing g5? It's like, was he playing on this side? Now he's playing on this side.
Okay, in general, this is the right strategy. The question is just, this is the right timing. Yeah? Is this maybe a bit too too quickly played? Yeah, so that you maybe needed some preparation first. Also, you see, this position, if you imagine this kind of configuration with f5 and g5, yeah, just imagine this position without this and this piece. This would diminish this white's counterplay immensely. If you just got one rook here, because then you could, I think, easily cover all this stuff.
Yeah.
And here you're sort of tied up a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it was really better to take off one rook.
Yeah.
Difficult to say, but I think now Vishy really got some grip to the position and consolidated nicely.
c4, okay, which okay, so b4, but this pawn chain's quite good for sealing d6. Okay, he's deprived himself of a nice knight square, but this pawn chain looks impressive, sort of, with the space advantage. Now g3, discouraging maybe f4. From black, and maybe okay, so bishop goes to f8, and then we saw an exchange of rooks. Okay, but here the big difference, the rook maybe has got e6 now, that weakness of the last move.
Yeah, exactly, but black couldn't play rook e8 also. This just would exchange too many pieces. So
Alright, what would happen if rook e8? It's just there wouldn't. Yeah, Black's A4 would be hopeless without a rook behind it, I guess.
Yeah, you just don't have enough here. Just maybe just put on. You can put this on quickly here. Let's say takes here, and now, how would you take now with the king? Maybe even.
Okay.
Not sure. Let's say we take with the king, and yeah. Now the question is, how should White continue here? One concrete thing is this move.
Right. Yeah.
And let's say something like this.
Yeah.
This looks ugly. After this, you can shake hands already.
Yeah, because also King F. There's Bishop D8. That's a resource I spot during the stream that this A5 could be a target to Bishop D8 for the king.
Yeah, you have A4. Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, A4.
But this is just securing the draw, as this is close to a fortress here. You just put some piece on F4 and then it's over. So this is not enough. Yeah, you cannot exchange too much. So he took with the bishop, and then, as you said, yeah, this kind of move's also forced.
Unfortunately, the king's getting tangled up in the variations now. It shouldn't have been this unsafe. This king, it was weird now. This king, as though it was going to get mated or something.
Check.
You know.
Yeah, this is in this exact position. If Black would have one extra move like bishop on d7, then all this wouldn't be happening. And I think, okay, he really went for this somewhat crazy-looking king walk to confuse matters.
I guess there's light squares to sort of infiltrate on.
Yeah.
So h3 stopping the king using g4. But now g4 looks as though, you know, is a mating net being constructed potentially. So bishop f7 and now rook f6. Okay, it's starting to look quite nasty for Black here. So what does he do about this? He has to protect f5, and now we see rook e6. So there's already a draw invitation for repetition. You'll just repeat.
Yeah, of course. Black cannot go for this.
And
so yeah, what I think it's important from a practical point of view is that even though White had gotten himself into some trouble after around move 10, move 12, something, that he still has a comfortable advantage here on the clock.
Yeah.
So very often you see people who sort of recognize, okay, this game is not going my way, I'm having problems, why did I get myself into this mess, and so on. And while arguing like this with yourself, you spend lots of time and also get into time trouble.
But also,
and this Vishy didn't do at all. He just played quickly.
Yeah, but also d6 is a problem for bishop f6 and bishop e7 here as well. That would be double attacking and trying to get to this d6.
Yeah, White has some clear counterplay now.
So that has to be kind of factored in now. So rook e8, yeah, he's keen to get the rooks off now, maybe because of something like that. Bishop f6 anyway, hitting g5.
Yeah, important is just quickly to show. Very important is that White cannot exchange on e8. Yeah, I mean he can, but it's a bit risky because you've got g4 coming up.
G4, but how? Oh yeah, and then take with the king.
Yeah, let's say stuff like this here.
Yeah.
Check.
And then you've got f4 coming up.
Oh right.
This position, I think, Black is on the verge of winning, so need to be cautious.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some rescue or whatever, but you shouldn't really get into this.
Yeah.
Okay. So he played bishop to f6 here.
So
and,
so g4
it's not very
now.
comfortable.
Okay.
Check.
So check, king takes.
Check.
Now knight h2 check. Okay, so the question is here, can the king actually carry on its journey to h3? I think it may not have been able to. There's a reason. It goes... No, it does. Pardon me.
Yeah, the question is now, I think knight f3, yeah?
It goes knight f3. Oh, right, he's now threatening. He's there was some threat in this position.
Yeah, the problem is Black would like to be active again, but
check.
this loses outright.
Oh yes,
Because,
hitting
yeah,
F8. Yes. So
get
if
rid of the defender here and stuff like this.
and then E7.
Yeah, and you
Oh.
just your bishop just gobbles up all the pawns. Yeah, white just
Right.
wins easily.
That's the reason. Yeah. So this
Yeah.
king's
Yeah,
got to be
pawn.
careful.
Otherwise, he might have gone to. Oops. He might have gone to. Let's go to the position again. He might go king g2, but he cannot. So, and black doesn't have a move really.
Oh, that's unfortunate. It's an aggressive use of the king. Otherwise, isn't it? Very impressive.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Anand had saw this. So
F4, trying to sort of do something. Okay,
yeah,
so it liberates
this
the
is
bishop.
quite good description. I think it doesn't. It just wants to activate the bishop and trying to confuse a bit.
I think actually I think someone said there's if white solves the problems permanently here with say bishop. No, maybe not bishop g5. Okay, I think there was a positional threat here as well of maybe knight g5 check and then taking on h7 is possible as well after taking here.
Yeah, this is very much possible.
All right, let's have a look at this f4 though. So okay, so pawn sack or something. So he does take the pawn. Okay, the bishop's now liberated a bit, but and f4 looks weak, and it looks as though the king's going to get material back. It looks like, but now we see knight g5, and unfortunately here there's a nasty fork. If black does play king takes, then there's rook takes, and then knight e6 check, winning that bishop on f8.
Just a second.
Let's try.
Let me just put it on the board because you have. Yeah, I see.
Check. Oh, but there's king f5, I guess.
You have this move here. But one problem here is, let's say this one. What does black do now?
Blimey, that bishop is silly, isn't it?
It's a very, very silly piece.
Isn't it h6? I suppose if h6, you just play bishop h4.
Yeah, this is no winning even.
It is, isn't it? Where's that bishop going?
Yeah, nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So interesting, yeah. So that's pretty dangerous, that idea.
It's tricky, yeah. So what did he play actually?
So rook a8. He plays rook a8, and now we see rook e3. So here, now if takes here, I think he didn't take, did he? He played king f5.
No, I think you just cannot.
Well, then there's check, and then bishop e7, isn't there?
Yeah. Also this kind of stuff you can.
Oh, ouch!
You can flick in a couple of checks here.
Ah, yeah.
And let's say this one, and your bishop is trapped.
Again, it's like the shoe's on the other foot. You know, for a bishop in the previous game on b8, we've got a tortured bishop on f8 here in this game.
Yeah. This is somehow it shows that really this position was opened up prematurely, and white has got all active pieces here, and this is what you don't want. Okay, it was tricky. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to f5.
Yeah. Then we saw bishop going back. Okay. a4 finally. a4 something there, but knight e6. Okay, bishop h6 still looks a little bit dangerous because it's pointing at white's king potentially, but the knight's holding things together quite well on e6.
Yeah, and the best that black can sort of get is some opposite colored end game.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too nice if he wants to win.
Check.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. So it's very comfortable that white only needs a draw here. And also now you see this eternal weakness on d6.
Yes. So bishop e7 is.
Yeah, exactly. Bishop e7 or bishop h4, g3, something like this.
Oh yes, even better. Yes, part of the bishop potentially. That's even better. Yeah, because that makes that more solid as well.
Yeah, exactly just according to the specific position, one of those two ideas. And black needs to cover this pawn all the time. You cannot in any way consider to sacrifice this, as if this pawn falls, all other pawns fall.
Yes,
And,
yes. All these three are going. That pawn chain's going to be undermined with e7 or with d6 dropping.
Yeah.
So
and
rook
now,
e3, as though bishop e7's a major threat again.
Yeah, I think by now white is already somewhat better, but okay, he just needed to draw, so he didn't try hard to maybe make something out of this.
So bishop e4. Okay, so he's prevented bishop e7 with that move. But now the bishop comes here to torture d6. AB.
Check.
Check. Okay.
Check.
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 And okay, if white's holding his pawn chain from b3 with this rook, and he comes back to defend, it seems, d6 here. But now f3 kicking that bishop. It goes to b1.
Yeah, this is now very nice configuration. If you see this, the fourth rank here is completely covered, so black's king cannot enter, and you have easy access still to e6, attacking the pawn.
Yes.
Yeah,
Naughty.
and this really spells the end to all black's ambitions here.
If black could win this pawn, then maybe the chain collapses like this. But he's got his pawn to take care of.
Yeah, and white can now help with his king. His king actually can defend the b pawn, while black's king cannot help in defending d6. So
yeah,
this is the problem.
So king c1, h4, trying to get access to maybe f4.
Yeah, this is to make a draw.
But there's a good tactic here, which Svidler saw immediately. He predicted this. Beautiful calculation by Svidler. Not caring about this position too much. If he moves the rook, he could be in trouble. If he has to move the rook, but he doesn't have to. Beautiful move, I thought, to simplify, to guarantee the draw.
Yeah, bishop f5 is just the drawing move. But you can move the rook. It's not a big deal. You can, I think.
Wouldn't you allow?
Bishop g5 is super clear, of course, in terms of drawing the game.
Yeah, so he's just going to take. It's just got rook and pawn ending, with his rook on e6 parked lovely.
This is the kind of position you really draw against anyone.
Yeah, and that's it. Black can no longer do anything here. His king's cut off. The force field's put up to the king entering. And d6 is tying down this rook. Oh, it's miserable. Okay. Well done to Vishy Anand. Should we have a quick overview and summary of this game?
Yeah, sure.
So, an interesting choice of opening. Bypassing main line.
Check.
Knight or3. This bishop b5 again, even without knight c6. So, this break in the centre seemed quite interesting. And black got the bishop pair, and with queen a6 seemed to have quite an annoying position. And maybe, as you say, the most dynamic opportunity, Tau would do this, wouldn't he? To try and get to the king in the centre. He wouldn't want the queens off here, would he, Tau? He wanted to get to the king.
Long castle is very, very dynamic idea. Very interesting.
I think most attacking players would do that, wouldn't they? Because they've got the bishop.
Yeah, could be, but there might be some concrete stuff. I mean, I had the engine switched on briefly. There was some idea where white can equalize also.
Oh.
But I think he invested some time. It's not like he immediately recaptured on d6. I think he thought about this.
Yeah.
And you need to see this endgame that they got. That was just better for black.
Yeah.
I mean, he misplayed it afterwards.
Check.
Yeah.
Check.
His king just got involved. Maybe he had an aggressive ambition with his king to come on the glide on the light squares. Once white had played g3, it seemed the king was going to be really super aggressive and a hero, maybe. But it was quite a liability as well. At the same time, this f5 was very committal, and without a rooks off, as you say, one pair of rooks, it seems white had potential counterplay, immediately threatening bishop g7 there. And it looks as though Black King was almost getting in trouble for a while here, the way it had to come up the board.
Check.
But actually, if it does successfully come up the board, it's gliding through these light square weaknesses. But Vishy had f8 as a tactical target in many variations coming up, so that the king couldn't venture too aggressively after this check. It had to. It couldn't go to g2 because of this check here. Very neat idea, isn't it? This check.
Yeah, I think he very nicely calculated this. You need to see, he needed to calculate this a couple of moves ago. Otherwise, white is toast.
Yeah, because this, if he loses this, he's losing this. It would be the end.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
It's
this would go, and then
end
this
of game.
diagonal, and then that would be terrible. And then you've also got bishop.
You need to have those tricks, and if you don't, you just lose the game. So I think you needed to see this couple of moves in advance. This idea.
So f4, which does at least liberate the bishop, but no, white's still getting a grip on things, because of this monster knight now installing itself on e6 pretty soon, which takes care of a few issues and helps to get the opposite bishop colour ending now after rook h6. There was nothing much else with that bishop. It doesn't want to go back miserably to f8, does it? So
no, but also there might be some mate ideas even. If black would play bishop f8, stuff like f3, rook g3, g5, checkmate.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the king, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like this wins immediately, but no, you cannot. Bishop f8 is ridiculous, so trying to win. But yeah, now there's just not enough
and now
enough firepower on the board left.
So there were ideas to get to this d6. There were routes in to get to d6, which is like a classic weakness in the Benoni, isn't it? The Benoni Son of Sorrow opening. You get d6 as a major weakness. So now it's been targeted like this quite efficiently. And then we get this situation. These checks aren't so brilliant because the rook has to go back, and we get now a very neat tactical move in response to this other pawn sack to get access to f4. The king is sucked back to g5 tactically. So a raw rook and pawn ending where the king is cut off totally and the rook's tied down to d6. So a really nice way to force a draw in the end, I thought. Okay, so yeah, thanks Chris. I hope everyone got everything from this commentary and the commentary overall in the match, the dual commentary.
Also from my part, thanks for watching and also for the comments left on the channels.
Yeah.
So very nice to get some feedback on this, and I hope we did a good coverage here. There have been quite a number of games in the end, quite some project, and I think we really showed some pretty nice detailed analysis on this.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks everyone. Comments or questions on YouTube on both our channels, King's Crusher and Chess Explained. Thanks very much.